seemed to be going our way. Like I thought, I don't know how many layups we had roll around the rim and out. And, some of those nights happened. We used a lot of them up last night. I think didn't have too many of those at all last night, but really proud that we just hung in there and stayed with it when it was kind of tough.
You know, a lot of composure from Malachi in those last 4 or 5 minutes when you
Yeah.
the game away.
And it wasn't, it was tricky. It wasn't an easy scenario because they were, still sitting in the zone. We were, and we'd run a play and to get knocked out of bounds, and we'd have to call another one. I mean, there was a lot of play calling going on, like in the last 3 minutes. It just was like trying to, keep him going with another wrinkle or something, and wasn't perfect play calling, but it seemed to end up in the right guy's hand a lot down the stretch, and they made some plays. It wasn't like they were working as perfectly as designed, but the right guy had the ball and made a play out of some of them. So yeah, I thought Gary did a good job. I didn't think he was having a especially good game at either end, and then he just kind of hung in there and came to life and finished it off for us, made some tough shots. Malachi kind of jump-started the offense with some tough shots there in the 4, 5, 6 minute mark.
Coaches point out defensive 3-second things to referees during the course of the game. Hopefully you might get one at some point.
Listen, I tell you what, you guys know, you guys have probably heard like Jeff Van Gundy talk about, some of the stats that like there hasn't been one called in the fourth quarter and late like that. Yeah. So it's like, those are pretty good ones, but I mean, they did sit in zone for like 40 minutes tonight. So I'd imagine they were probably in there 10 or 12, 15 times, and they get called for a couple of them. So I was too busy trying to figure out how to score. I was trying to direct the offense. I didn't see either one of them coming. So a couple of nice breaks there.
Gandhi seemed like he was sort of wherever the ball was. The last 4
Yeah, he was getting mad at me anytime I was calling a play that he wasn't involved in. He was getting mad at me. He wanted to make the plays, and boy, he made a really tough circus shot there at the end of the shot clock, which again was a good break for us. But no, he did. He kind of got the ball. He made some good passes. He chased it hard on defense. We put him on Aldridge, which means you didn't end on Aldridge. You barely just start on him, and they'd run the ball screen, and he'd be off on, Curry. And he did a great job. That was a really key switch to, enabled us to hold them to 19 there in the fourth quarter.
Spent so much of the last few months playing next to the starters, and with that, he's really had to have that nose for the ball and find how to fit it. Is tonight's example that's paying off? Because again, it didn't look like you're running a ton of plays for him.
No, again, I still say the same thing. I know he's really a pass first guy, right? So even if you put it in his hands, he's looking to make plays. I thought a couple times in transition he was kind of steamrolling down the middle, and he probably could take some of those all the way himself. And that's what I just kept telling him to go as deep to the rim until they absolutely make you pass it. And anyway, he played good.
Did Kem look a little bit more chemish to you tonight?
Yeah. And that's, it's one of the battles I was having was getting him back in there tonight, because he did play. I thought he played with great energy, and he started making some plays, always seemed to be in the right spot down there in offense. However, we got to a complete switching game on defense. So that was, we were going, and even at the end when Pascal fouled out, it was kind of like, it was going to be Chris or Precious, and I thought Precious would probably provide just a touch more switchability, so we went with him.
With Malachi, you didn't play him very much early in the season. I guess, why was that, and how far has he come?
Well, I've explained that already. Listen, we gave him some shots early in the season, right? We gave him some chances, and he didn't really look like he was ready to go, right? He just wasn't impacting, wasn't making shots, wasn't playing what we needed, right? And again, we talked about before the game, we gave him a few shots here and there lately, and he's produced, and that's the only thing I can judge it on. right? You go out there and you play your minutes, and if you play well, I'm going to play you, period, right? If you don't, I can't. And that's just the facts of it.
I think those final few minutes, Pascal's fouled out. There's no Fred, there's no OG. But it seemed like all of the young guys, especially Scotty, were like, we got this, we'll figure it out. What's it say about that group that did this time?
Well, they did a good job. First of all, they finally dug in on defense. Again, they did a good job of executing the switching part of the defense and getting the right guys matched up on the right guys to start it. So it enables us to do that without too many mismatches. Right. We got a little confused here and there. Gary ends up on Blake Griffin on the block. Malachi ends up on Aldridge at the nail. There was a few little tricky ones here and there, but they got that figured out. But the best thing they did is they went down there and continued to execute stuff on offense. And like I said, it's not easy. You don't play against zone that much. Usually, when you guys have seen us, we see a zone and we usually run our 2 or 3 or 4 plays and bang shots and get them out of it. Right. And you had to keep going, and we had to put some wrinkles in. We had to run some of our man sets. We had to keep, and there was a lot of them late, and they did an excellent job of just, figuring those out and executing them in a high pressure situation.
I know you often say you don't really notice the crowd with everything that's going on over the course of the game, but did you feel them a little bit more tonight?
Well, yeah, I was wrong about Steve's question. I didn't know. Man, I got to get clued into what's going on around here a little bit more. I was completely off on that one. Yeah, I was. The only time I really noticed them is I think Gary was shooting maybe 1 or 2 free throws, or I think 1, and Dragic checked in, and they were booing so much. I was hoping they were going to stop before Gary got the ball, and they didn't really want to. But anyway, they were lively. That's for sure. They really have fun doing that, don't they? Huh? They really were. They were ready. They were ready. Man, they were ready, and they didn't take the foot off the gas the whole game, did they?
Brady, Anderson, Morning.
Really have fun with that.
All the good food.
Yeah. I guess get it out of your system.
I think Malachi's last 7 games, beginning with the Houston game, it's about 140 or so minutes, and he's had 2 turnovers. Is that something you look at as someone being just like a really sound decision maker over that stretch, or do you think there's maybe a bit more risk taking to be at there?
No, I kind of like the sound of that. I think what it sounds like is he's doing a really good job of getting the offense started, right? Not trying to overdo it, just trying to get things organized and get it started. And I think that they're not putting a ton of pressure. They don't know him that well. They're not putting a ton of pressure. He comes off those screens with some space, and the play is to shoot a lot of times or drive it. That may change as we go here, but he's making the right reads and he's doing a great job. That's really good to hear.
My question for you. Go ahead, Oren.
Yeah, hey Nick. You guys are obviously banged up, missing some key players here, but you closed the game with a lineup with a rookie and 2 second-year players. So what does that say about the development of some of these young guys over the course of the season here?
Well, I'm again, I mentioned it to him afterwards. I knew we were really young out there and they weren't, right? We were playing against a bunch of guys that have been in this league a long time. And it says a lot that they were, again, I think they realized they kind of had to do it together. They kind of had to do it with execution and defense, and they did it.
How much have you kind of seen the growth of these guys in terms of the focus level over these games? Like from the start of the season to now, how much are you seeing them kind of improve that?
Well, I've seen the total spectrum in the last 4 games. Couldn't be any bigger spectrum on both ends either, right? I mean, listen, we didn't get out of the vacation break very focused, but they snapped out of it, and they were incredible last night. And I thought they were battling, and they weren't incredible tonight, but they found a way to keep hanging and playing. And so I think hopefully they're back here for a little while that way. Again, that's all I need all I ask for. Can we go out and play hard, and can we execute the game plan? And then we're probably going to give ourselves a decent chance.
Thanks.
All right. Thanks, everybody. Good to see you, Steve.